Yes, guys, welcome to a brand new podcast. I'm your host, Cohnan, as always, and I'm joined here by Kenny. And now this will be a bit of an unusual podcast because usually with all of the guests I bring on, I usually somewhat know them already. They're usually my friends. Whereas Kenny, I think I've only seen you once at the gym before. And we've talked on social media a couple of times before. So I think this will be a great conversation because all the questions I'll be asking you today are questions that I'm actually genuinely curious about. And I've seen your content before, you self-improvement, gym stuff. So I think we're pretty much like-minded. So I think this will be a great discussion. And hopefully you guys can take a bunch of value out of this episode as well. So before we get started, pretend you don't know me, which is actually true. You don't really know who I am. But just do a quick little introduction on yourself. So who are you and what do you do?
Short, elevator pitch, I would say.
Elevator pitch, yeah.
My main thing is I'm a YouTuber, both in terms of I have my own YouTube channel and I run James English, he's a bodybuilder, I run his YouTube channel. So if anyone asks me, I'll just say I'm a YouTuber, which is I'm sure there's a stigma around saying that, but that's literally what I do. I have Instagram, I've done short form TikTok stuff, but my bread and butter is making YouTube content.
Right, so your main thing is YouTube right now.
Yeah, 100%.
Gotcha. So I want to do a quick little background thing on you. So let's just go from the very start. So your childhood, what were you like as a kid, and what got you into pretty much doing YouTube, right? Because I did some research. I think you started when you were a kid. So kind of run me through your childhood, what that was like, and what got you first into creating YouTube videos.
Had a pretty, I would say, regular childhood upbringing. Besides, my mom had me when she was 16. So of course there's the stresses that come with that. But eventually, she finished school, got a nursing degree, got a job. We were just living in a little apartment, whatever. But I was, granted, when I was super young, I'm watching cartoons, I'm watching SpongeBob, whatever. But as soon as I had access to the internet and a web browser, even if it was my grandparents' computer, I was essentially raised by YouTube way back in the day. So Smosh is a big one for sure. I'm trying to think. There was Smosh, Annoying Orange, Fred. I didn't really watch Fred, but that golden the first era of YouTube. I was for some reason I was so much more drawn and attached to that compared to anything the TV had to offer. So I was obsessed with it. So by the time I would say 11 years old, because I think it was 2012. So when I was 11 years old, I got a little iPod. It was the fourth generation. It was the first iPod with a camera.
Okay.
But the camera was 360p, 480p.
Yeah.
But I would take it, and me and my brothers and my friends would play with Nerf guns and airsoft guns, and we would make action movies. And then eventually I was able to get an app where I could film and I could add muzzle flashes and explosions.
Oh, really?
So that's where I got my start. And then since that point, just from watching Smosh and all the other creators, I was oh, there's a career in this. This is what I want to be when I grow up. I want to do YouTube. And that was my passion.
And how old were you at this time?
11.
Okay, wow.
My first YouTube video, I think, was posted in 2012. So I was either 11 or 10 if it was pre-March. Okay.
And what did your classmates think of that? Because dude, when I was 11 years old, I was super shy, super introverted. I don't even think I started YouTube when I was I think 13 or something, but it was just some random videos. But I kept I did not want to share with anyone. I was just super shy about it. I didn't want to share it to anyone. So did you were you kind of similar, or did you show it off to everyone?
It was in the age where I didn't have an Instagram where I was sharing it where people would see. So most people didn't know.
Okay.
And my close friends knew, but they were in the videos, so it was whatever. People really didn't start picking up on to it until high school when I was doing gaming videos.
Okay. What kind of gaming videos were they?
It all started with Minecraft. I was exposed to Minecraft before, Minecraft popped off a couple years later, but in 2009, 2010 was when Minecraft Alpha came out, which was the very first version of the game, and I only knew about it because my cousin, who was also a gamer nerd, told me. And I was just instantly addicted. And it was my first time being exposed to video games in a sense of I had immediate access to it because I had just a really crummy laptop, little Windows baby laptop I got as a gift to do Word on and school research and stuff. But Minecraft somehow ran on it at the time. So that was my first introduction besides video games babysitters or playing on the Wii with family or little things like that. And from that point on for the rest of my childhood, I was addicted to video games. But it started with Minecraft and then lots of Call of Duty, some Counter-Strike, Rust, if you know what that is. It's a very toxic survival first-person shooter.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay. And so you said from a young age you knew you wanted to be like a YouTuber. So did you go to like university or college at all, or did you immediately, as soon as you graduated high school, like, yeah, I'm gonna be a YouTuber, I'm gonna pursue this full time, or like what was kind of like your strategy? Like so you did high school, right? You graduated?
Yes.
Okay, so what did you do after high school?
It'd be cooler to say I dropped out of high school, but I'm not one of those kids.
Oh, dude,
no, I graduated high school. I did, this isn't college, of course, but in middle school, I did go to, for a week, UT Austin. They did this thing where parents could like sign their kids up. It was like filmmaking school.
Oh, okay.
So that was the first time I was exposed to Final Cut Pro.
Okay.
And then I remember right after that camp, I learned how to pirate it. So I switched to Final Cut. I'm like, I can do way more on Final Cut than I could do on iMovie.
Yeah.
Which was cool. But no, I graduated high school, and I had a brief period before where I did a bunch of gaming videos, and then sophomore year I just stopped videos altogether. Kids were making fun of me.
Okay.
I got into the gym, so I stopped playing video games. I was interested in getting good grades and getting girls, as everyone is.
Yeah, of course.
And then in 2019, which was the year I graduated, at the very beginning of the year, so I'm still in school, I started doing gym vlogs. So I started doing that. But
okay, so sorry, before we move on, what motivated you to do gym vlogs? Because you were a gamer up until then. Were you like watching other influencers, or what got you into the gym?
Funny enough, the first
vlogs?
I was like fully addicted to gaming and fully addicted to porn, and I was as incel nerd beta as they came, and I was obsessed with video games. I thought anyone that went to the gym and any of those big muscle guys, I was like, these are just douchebags who are very conceited and only doing that. I didn't understand any health benefits. I didn't know. I was so uneducated. I was like,
you were like a typical Jeffrey.
Yeah, I was a typical Jeffrey. They were. I was like, oh, they're just narcissists. Like, why would you do that when you could just play video games? But
a lot of people think that way nowadays. So
but mid high school, my friend and two of my like really close friends started training after school. We had a hospital that was only a couple blocks from my house. And it's a small town hospital. It has a little rehabilitation, but there's a bench press, a lat pull down, a Smith machine, a cable machine. And they started going, and they would ask me to go. And since they're my friends, I wanted to go and hang out with them because I love spending time with friends, even though I was jerking off and playing video games most of the time. But I was so insecure that my idea was of a gym was I walk in and there's a bunch of Dwayne Johnson motherfuckers and they're gonna be like, ha, look at this skinny fuck, get out of here, let's beat him up. Like I would be so insecure. So for a week I was like, they would go every day after school, and for a week I would say, no, let me build a base first. So I was doing lunges up and down my bedroom. It's like you're doing push-ups, but you don't want your family to know, so you're like trying to hold your breath, and if they come in, you're like embarrassed.
I was doing like home workouts in my room at 13 years old, hoping no one would like hear me. Yep. I can definitely relate.
Some Athlete X home workout, body weight
Mike Chang six-pack shortcuts.
Yeah, I remember those ads.
Yeah.
So I did that, but the only reason they convinced me is because a little bit in high school a little bit in middle school and a lot in high school, I would smoke weed with my friends here and there, just because, even though I don't do it anymore, I have mixed opinions on it. Back then I was like, oh, it's illegal for no reason, it's good for you, da-da-da. So the only reason I went to the gym for the first time is after school, we hotboxed a friend's truck, and I was so high that when my friend was like, oh, let's just walk over to the gym, I was like, oh, okay, let's go. I don't remember. It was such a blur. I don't remember counting. I remember just being on the bench press with a bar and just not even counting, just going through the motions.
You were just that high.
But yeah, I was just that high, and it wore down. And while I was there, I realized, oh, this is just a little hospital gym. The only other person here is like some old dude on the treadmill doing rehabilitation. I can start going to this, and I started going, and it was just like, how everyone is like, oh, I just fell in love with the gym, because as soon as I saw a little bit of lines, a little bit of progress, I was like, this is amazing. This is the first time in my life that I grind something and get real life rewards that I think are valuable enough to keep pursuing, because before then, all of that was just video games. All of the grinding for rewards was just digital, didn't carry on to the real world. For the first time, I was like seeing myself change. I was finally getting confidence, because even though I was coping and I was projecting my insecurity on like the muscly douchebags that go to the gym, I didn't like that I was skinny. I got made fun of a lot in middle school. They call me like Skinny Kenny. They'd be like, let me see your wrist. Oh, your bones are so small. Like, do you not eat? Like, all that. You go to McDonald's and order a 20-piece and they're like, oh, you think you can eat all that? Like, just bullied. So not even as soon as I saw results, but as soon as I knew that I was doing something to change it, the shame from being bullied didn't matter anymore. It's like if someone says, oh, you're skinny, it's like, well, I'm in the gym, I'm working to train it. Yeah. You're just an asshole. I'm taking responsibility. So that alone was just a huge game changer for me. I was still super insecure and whatnot, but the exact same time I started getting into the gym, I just fully lost interest in video games because I didn't have time for both. Because I would go to school, I would nap, or I would wait around for like an hour or so, wait for my friends to get off and go to the gym. Or then around 5, 6, 7 p.m., I didn't know any better, take some crazy stimulant pre-workout and go work out for like 3 to 4 hours, go to bed with heart palpitations from the pre, go to school, and I was just so in love with it. Like I was just sitting in class all day waiting to go to the gym. So where like video games completely left my life for about 2 years.
Okay, and you were like 16, 17 during this time, or?
2019 I was...
18, 17, 18.
So 2019 I was 18, but I started a little earlier than that. So I was probably about to turn 17, maybe in the 16s. So I was training. I didn't know anything. You know, I wasn't eating right. It took me a while. It wasn't completely serious invested until 2019, but I was still going just because I loved it and loved hanging out with my friends when I was so in the 16s or 17,
Okay, because that's interesting, because when I first started my YouTube channel, like actually vlogging my workouts, I was inspired by like Christian Guzman, like all these like fitness influencers, right, that actually now live in Texas, which is pretty funny. So you just like, you didn't look at anyone else's YouTube channel, you went to the gym, you're like, you know what, I freaking love this, I'm not gaming anymore, let me vlog this. Was this like all from you?
Yeah, so at first, I probably had at least, I took a big break my senior year from training because I convinced myself I wanted to play basketball because I'm a senior and I'd get on varsity. I sat the bench because my confidence was so low. It's like hooping at the wire in practice, I'm like doing great, but as soon as the games would start, I was like anxiety. I'm like shooting the ball over the net. Like it's embarrassing. I just want to sit the bench. I regretted my decision to play basketball. Wow. But because of that, I lost like 20 pounds that I was grinding for eating and bulking up. And of course, like puberty in high school and stuff, like you grow up like a weed. But initially in the gym, no. I would only watch Athlete X for like tutorials. Yeah. Like how to correctly do a tricep press down, how to correctly bench press. Because he was just and like sure he's controversial now for like the fake weights and stuff. But at the time, he was the authority for like scientific workout training. So I attached to that. But it wasn't until 2019 where I've already had some results from the gym that I decided to do it. And by that time, I was most likely the main person I watched, of course, was just David Lade. Oh, dude, yeah. He just had that, I related so much to how skinny he was as a kid, and he had that aesthetic physique. He had exactly what I wanted. His vlogs were just so relatable. But I don't think there was any specific creator that made me want to do the vlogging. It was just, I've been creating videos every day since I was a kid. Through my gaming years, created gaming videos, and then I just stopped for a year and a half. And you may understand this too, but for like creators or people that want to do that, you get that itch after a while of quitting. And I had that itch, and I was like, well, my only passion right now is the gym, so I'm just going to start vlogging the gym like I see the David Lades and the Bradley Martins do. So that's where that started. Okay, cool. And so after you graduated high school, what did you study for university or college? So YouTube was always the plan A, but... Oh, was that your plan A? YouTube was, but in your senior year when everyone's talking about college, your parents are pressuring you about college, you're trying to get scholarships, I fell into it, and I wanted to be I was like, oh, I'll be a physical therapist. They make $100K a year. If I do my clients right, I could be done with work at 3 p.m., which is funny now because like $100K a year now is good, but back then I was like, that's rich. If you're making $100K a year, you're rich, and I know that physical therapists make that. It has stuff to do with the body. So I did a summer semester right after I graduated, and then I did my first semester, and I was just getting basics and stuff because it takes 6 years basically to become a PT. Right. But after that, during that first semester in October of 2019, so this is less than a year I graduated, me and my friend was like, hey, Gymshark is doing an event in Houston, which is for us that's a crazy drive, but dude, David Lade's gonna be there, James English, Dylan McKenna, Lex Little, all the I don't know if Chris Bumstead, but at the time, Face Sensor. Face Sensor's gonna be there. Oh, like we gotta go. Gamer, right? Yeah. And by that time, like I don't think I owned any Gymshark, but I was a Gymshark fan just because of David Lade. So we went, and when we went, I remember the night before we went to the event, we decided last second, instead of going to one gym that we saw the Gymshark guys train at, so we wanted to run into them, we were like, no, let's go to Alphalete, because the first time I ever was exposed to Christian Guzman was the summer of 2019. I watched this Summer Shredding.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, this is apparently like the gym. It'd be really cool to see it. And I remember just pulling up, just seeing the gym that I saw on YouTube blew my mind.
Yeah.
I was like, I've never seen something from YouTube in real life before. So we go in, I'm just starstruck by the gym, and maybe 30, 45 minutes into training, I look over and I'm like, oh, that's David Lay, Dylan McKenna, James English, Lex Little. And that was the first time in my life that I saw, and sure, like fanboy, starstruck, whatever, but like I think at the same time my ego didn't want me, I'd never fanboy over people because like probably an ego thing. I didn't want to put people above myself, even back then when I was super insecure and just a Jeffrey in a lot of ways. But it clicked and I said, these people are real. These people, like I sure you watch them on YouTube, but it doesn't click that these are real people who made YouTube a career. And I was like, I gotta drop out. So that's when I decided to drop out. And there's an old YouTube video. It's Gymshark meetup something on my channel.
Okay.
Where at the very end I go into like this storm drain ditch and I sit and I talk and I'm like, I told myself that YouTube was my plan A, but I'm only putting out a video a month and I'm working and I'm doing classes. So in reality, it was my plan B. College and work became my plan A, and I need to change that. So a couple months later, I finish my classes. I don't re-enroll. I tell my mom, oh yeah, I'll re-enroll and just do them all online. In January of 2020 is when I moved to Houston.
Damn. So what did your parents think of that? Because like for myself at least, it's like, when you say to your parents or even like your friends, like, oh, I want to be a YouTuber instead, like people will laugh at you, be like, dude, are you serious? Like, go get a real job, go to university, get a degree, just follow like the traditional path. But like, what was that like dropping out? Like, did you have any criticism from your parents or from your friends, or what was that like?
They've known that YouTube was my interest because they saw me doing it since I was 11 years old or whatever. And
so how many subscribers were you at this point?
At that point, 400 or 500.
Really? So you weren't making any money from it?
Not during the vlogs. However, before then, during the gaming days, YouTube monetization was different. It wasn't the ad partner program that they do now with AdSense.
Yeah.
It was you had to get a YouTube partnership. And there was all these different, there was Machinima, Freedom, Curse, all these networks that they'll take you into their network and they'll get you ads and your videos will be monetized and they take a certain percentage. But there was only one company that would let any channel do it, and it was called Freedom.
Okay.
So I signed up for that. And I'm pretty sure the share was almost like YouTube takes a cut, but then Freedom also takes like another 50% out. But I was like, I can make money from this. So in total, I probably only made $40-50 during my gaming days.
Okay.
I made $40-50 as a kid. I'm like, I'm balling right now. But yeah, no, I wasn't making anything. There was no growth whatsoever. It was all just believing in myself and like, part of it was my ego that like, oh, I've been making videos for so long. And back then, if I look now, I'm like, my videos are shit. But at that time, I was like, my vlogs are fucking killer. Like, I know what I'm doing. Like, I'm gonna make it if I just keep doing it. But to answer the question about dropping out, my parents, I told them I was moving to Houston, and they were kind of they thought I'd be back in like 3 months. They thought I wasn't cut out for it. And even my friend that I moved out with, he was back home within 6 months. But I just stayed there and stuck it out. I made it work. Got a job at Alphalete Gym.
Okay.
But to answer about the college, what they thought, I kind of lied. I was like, I can take online classes there with my community college because they have online stuff. I'll just do that. Like, oh, okay. And then I just didn't enroll.
Just didn't.
And by that time, I'm already out of the house. I'm doing whatever. I'm on my own. It's like, yeah, I didn't enroll. I'm gonna take a semester off, and then they quickly was like, he's not gonna enroll back.
And so up to this day, they don't really. I mean, obviously now you're super successful, but all throughout the entire time, they didn't really stay.
They dropped the whole college thing.
Wow.
Which is, for my family, they're all like college educated and stuff. It's pretty weird.
Yeah.
But it mainly like my father, like he wasn't. My mom and dad split up shortly after I was born, so he didn't have any input. He like didn't care whatever. But my mother, who had a kid at 16, had a kid at 18, grinded through nursing school. I'm sure she felt some way about it. But I think she still thought for those first few months that I was going to end up coming back home and going back to classes and stuff. But it's pretty soon after that, she just dropped it.
Okay.
I think she just knew how much I wanted to make it work. And she knew I got a job at Alphalete, actually, when I moved there, I worked in the office in returns.
Oh.
So I would just I would get a piece of clothing return, take the lint roll, get the dog hair off, whatever, put it back in the warehouse and like refund the cards. So it was kind of cool because I learned Shopify pretty early on. But I did that for a little bit, and then COVID happened, and I was still working in there in the office, but they cut our hours to like 8 hours a week.
Oh, and you were working there full time, right? To like pay all your bills, pay all your expenses?
Basically it was like 30-something hours, like part-time, but basically enough to pay the rent, which was only $800 a month with 2 guys, it was a crummy place. It was a crummy place, crummy area. But for me, it was a fucking castle because we were just out on our own. But once the COVID stuff happened and I'm working 8 hours a week, all the gyms are closed. Damn. The body weight exercises fucking suck. So after a week of that, I'm like, I don't want to do that. Muscle memory will kick in, and I knew that.
Yeah.
But sure, it eventually kicked in. But during that, it was like a month and a half that gyms weren't open here in Houston. I was just sleeping in. I would wake up, beat off.
Back to your Jeffrey days.
I reverted back. I got back into video games after 2 years of not playing video games. And it all started with just, my friends are, because I had a PC, but it was just for editing and stuff. And I just brought it because it was like $1,000+ PC that I built back in my gaming days. I'm not going to leave it at home.
Oh, yeah.
But it was Warzone. I was like, let's check out Warzone. My friends are playing it. It looks really cool. I haven't played in a while. It's just to pass the time during quarantine. And I was instantly like hooked. I was playing Warzone all day, and then I got back into Counter-Strike, and then I got back into Rust, which Rust is a toxic game. Like you'll play 12 hours a day on. It's one of those types of games where it's a time investment. So that happened. I was doing I never quit porn at that point, but I was doing it more often because I'm home all day. Mm-hmm. It's a little embarrassing, but I even had like an Amazon fleshlight for a few months. I threw it away.
Oh no!
I threw it away eventually, but I had that I was fully down bad, degenerate, wasting away. I remember because I went from 155, which was peak bulked up in February of 2020, to after that I was 133 or something.
Wow!
So I lost 20 pounds, and I was shredded before. I was skinny, but I was shredded. Yeah. So it was all lean mass that I lost during quarantine because I would eat once a day and just jerk off and play video games.
Damn. And so how did you get out of that rut afterwards? Was it when COVID ended pretty much, or how did you get yourself out
when
of that?
When the lockdown ended, the gym started opening back up. They did a little soft open, so we'd go to a Dynamic Fitness, which is a chain. But then Alpha Elite reopened, and I started working more. But I was still a degenerate in all ways. But finally it's we can go back into fitness. And I'm just I am so far behind. I'm 20 pounds less. Yeah. My deadlift, which I prided myself on, because that was the one thing that shot up when I was just a 130-pound kid, was my deadlift. And in the early days of lifting, most kids fall into this trap of just attaching ego to your lifts.
Oh, so yeah.
That's why you see a lot of these TikTok kids. I don't want to say David Lade fanboys, because I was a David Lade fanboy, but these kinds of kids are just so in love with the deadlift. Oh yeah. Because as a skinny guy, it's I just moved 315 pounds.
Seems like skinny guys can deadlift a lot of weights.
Yeah, it's the long limbs, it's the long arms, especially. Yeah. I was doing conventional, but once I learned sumo, it blew up too. But in 2019, I went from doing maybe 200 pounds for one all the way to 350 for one or two. Damn. And then to go back and 2 plates is hard. I was I dropped the ball. I'm really grateful for it. It was a learning experience, but it took the rest of that year. The rest of that year, I remember at the end of 2020, and I was at 142 pounds.
I feel like a lot of people, including myself, kind of let ourselves go during COVID because all the gyms were closed. And so obviously after COVID, you mentioned, you saw James English at the Gymshark event in 2019. And so how did you start editing or become his editor, right? Because that's what you've been doing. Obviously not now, he's kind of injured right now. But how did you get you were doing your own videos, and then how did you start editing, or how did you even meet James English to begin with? Let's start there.
So I somewhat met James at the meetup, but not really, because him and Lex Little were together on a meetup thing, and my friend went to James and I went to Lex just because we only had a certain amount of time, and I talked to Lex, but I filmed a vlog of that whole experience, like I said, and at the end of that vlog I just ranted about wanting to drop out, chase my dreams of YouTube, all this. And maybe because Lex Little was in the tags or something, he found the video and watched it. And I didn't know this story until a while later when James told me. But Lex was like, bro, watch this video. We met this kid, and he's saying the exact same things that we used to talk about chasing our dreams and YouTube stuff. So James watched it, and I remember James watched it, and he commented on it and said subbed, and then he went to my Instagram and followed my Instagram, because I guess he like fucked with the video so much.
Holy.
Which part of me was like, oh wow, this is so cool, and part of me had that ego of like wanting to be cool, and I was just like, oh yeah, that's cool, but like my videos are that, like I truly believe like, oh, my videos are that good, like I deserve this. So that was late 2019.
Yeah.
So he would occasionally DM me here and there. He would like my posts. I think mid 2020 when he was working on his transformation video, he asked me about it for input on like what songs to use, because he knew I was just that passionate about YouTube. But him and Sush moved down, and by this time I switched from returns to Alpha Elite Gym.
Okay.
I just liked it more, and they needed a lot of help once they reopened, because a lot of people quit during lockdown or quarantine. So him and Sush decided, that's a whole other story, but him and Sush decides to move to Houston, and I run into them, and of course we recognize each other, we're talking a little bit, and pretty shortly after him moving there, both because he knew about my channel, but for a month or two, I did a little work for Remington James, who's like this, I don't know if you know him, but he's like an anabolic cook. I helped him with some videos, I edited some of his videos, so I had a little bit of a resume.
Okay.
And James took note, and he knew that he could tell that I was like him in terms of personality, so he was like, hey, Gorilla was going to give me a raise in salary, but instead I would rather them give salary to an editor so I can make more videos, and thus it promotes Gorilla Mode more. And of course he has like a great relationship with Derek and stuff. So me and Madrid, of course, because Madrid was Sush's editor and friend, me and him are the first ever like Gorilla Mode editors.
Oh,
and
okay.
So he called me, said that, put in my 2 weeks. December 8th of 2020 was my last day at the gym, and then I was a full-time YouTube editor, which was crazy. Making $2,000 a month, and a little bit of the ad revenue, which wasn't big at the time, but going from $2,000 a month from the gym, working 40 hours a week, to around $2,000 a month. I work from home, I edit, and I film some workouts. That alone felt like, at the time, I was like, oh, this is like a dream come true just now.
Yeah. Dude, that's crazy. Yeah. And then were you like still doing your own YouTube at the time, or you were just mainly all in on James's videos?
I was still doing my own YouTube, because if anything, being around people like that motivated me even more, because it kept reminding me like, success in this is real, I can do this. And even at the time, like James and Brandon maybe had 30, 40, I think when I started with James, he had 40, 45,000, but even that was such a crazy number to me, because I knew that it was his career. I was like, he does YouTube and fitness as a career. And so every day when I saw them, it reminded me, and it just had that fire under me. So granted, pretty soon into 2021, I went on the Modcast, and that got a lot of that initial cult onto me. So I quickly hit 1,000. I went from 500 to over 1,000 subscribers. I gained 1,000 subscribers on 1,000 followers on Instagram. Yeah. So it gave me that base, but I also grinded, and I was like, I can't let up on this. So I for a good portion of 2021, which I'd never done before, I was putting a vlog out every single week pretty much.
For your personal page?
For my YouTube channel, yeah.
Along with editing for James as well?
Along with editing for James, wow. one to two videos a week, which really wasn't bad though when that's all you do. You know, I didn't have any other job. Only thing I did in the day was go train and then just do my stuff. And by the end of 2021, I remember right when Q4 started of 2021, I hit 10,000. So I went from 1,000 to 10,000, and being featured in the Modcast and stuff helped at first. But I also like dipped my toe in TikTok, had a couple TikToks pop off right off the bat, and then I just stopped using TikTok, which was dumb of me. But I remember my first couple TikToks getting 500K a mil, like this and that.
Wow.
And it was like gym humor stuff. Yeah. It was just little skits, but that people recognized me because like I've heard about this kid. He's filming for Sush and he's filming for James and editing for James, so they would come follow. I wrapped up 2021. I started 2021 with 600-700 subscribers, and I ended it with over 10,000. Uploaded a bunch of YouTube videos. Dude, and I made it a point to never use Sush or James. And people, you could argue this is ego, but I just didn't want to feel like I was using my friends. So I have one YouTube video. I have two YouTube videos with James in the thumbnail, but I've never recorded a video with them working out, never put their names in the title or anything like that. Because you could say it's ego or me trying to be genuine, but I wanted to feel like I'm earning it in a certain sense without milking these people dry, you know?
So you finished out 2021 with 10,000 subscribers. Your life is pretty much, like you're editing for James now, your YouTube is blowing up. And so what was it like going into 2022 in terms of like your personal YouTube channel and then obviously like editing for James English as well?
So going into 2022, early 2022 was still kind of the Alphaland days. Or actually, no, that's
when
true.
Alphaland opened.
It was Alphaland opened
right?
January 1st, I believe.
Yeah.
So that was right when the Alphaland era started.
Yeah.
So I was still doing just gym videos for my stuff and gym vlogs. However, in, I want to say December of 2021, I posted a video that was different than anything I've done before, and it was called Dear Skinny Guys. And it was a talking head video where I'm just sitting, talking about my transformation, talking about my story, and giving my biggest tips for skinny guys because it's the video I wanted me a year, 2 years ago to see. And it was just mainly key points like how to train, how to eat more, this and that. And that video popped off. It had some initial tens of thousands of views, but throughout the first quarter or two of 2022, it went all the way to 1 million views, and now it's at I think almost like 1.7, almost 2 million views.
Damn.
And that was the first time I was like, oh, this is the most valuable video I've ever produced. And I'm not vlogging myself taking pre-workout or doing some dubstep gym workouts because I'm a skinny kid at the end of the day. I was much more now than I am now, than I am now. But this, I'm getting all these comments. People are finding the value in it. People saying this video is changing their lives. So, and that time, early 2022, I started getting more into self-improvement, especially like March, April, May was when I started really taking self-improvement seriously in terms of just absorbing as much content as I can. So that's when I started kind of juggling talking head about fitness, but then, which some would do well. You know, I had one about training splits that got a couple 100,000, but then also trying to implement these videos. I made a video about dopamine. It's like, why the gym could be messing up your dopamine. If you take a lot of stimulants and do a lot of dumb stuff at the gym and check your phone and blare music, you could be lowering your gym motivation. And just as I was learning stuff in my self-improvement journey, I would try to make these talking head videos about it. And pretty soon into 2022, I just fully transitioned into just talking head videos because I wanted to produce stuff that's more valuable, even if in the meantime it wasn't getting crazy views, which they weren't. Now they're sitting around 15, 20, 30,000 on those videos. But at the time, I could tell a good part of the audience wasn't messing with it because they're like, we want to see gym vlog with dubstep and pre-workout ziz fwa motivation fark. And it wasn't me.
Yeah.
So that 2022 was just really early 2022 was especially just finding myself and doing the self-improvement and taking that seriously. And then now I've gotten to the point where I've kind of fully transitioned into the self-improvement. I still talk fitness here and there, but I want to put out more value than just fitness because I think fitness is an amazing base. It's an amazing start to self-improvement, but I think self-improvement is so multifaceted.
Such a broad topic, right? You can talk about a lot of things. And so what's kind of like your future of your YouTube channel now? I know you mentioned you're like fully submerged into like the self-improvement thing. What do you kind of like see the future of Kenny's YouTube channel being? Do you think it'll mainly be self-improvement and then just like diving into like different like subtopics, or like what's kind of like your idea there? Similar
to when I made the Dear Skinny Guys, I think my mission is and always will be, I want to help kids that are the younger versions of me. Or even, I've had comments of people that are older than me, 30-year-olds commenting on them saying, oh, this helped a lot. People that are just however many steps behind me in the journey who just aren't aware of self-improvement. I want to get them into that. So maybe they're just in the gym, but they still play video games, they still jerk off, their mental health is terrible, they're not self-aware, they're not mindful or present in their daily lives, and I want to help bring them into that. And I've seen some success in 2022 with certain videos. Like I had a no-fap video that did really good up to 400K views, and then it got demonetized.
Oh, really?
I'm sure, I guess because of the topic, but...
Sensitive topic, probably?
Yeah, I guess, but there's a million no-fap videos that aren't censored. But a lot of 22 was honestly just a struggle with YouTube because, this fitness video would do really well, and then the self-improvement video does mid or bad, and I put another one out and it does bad. And then even early 2023, like I had a stint where 4K, 5K, 6K, 10K, which now, at the time I was around 50K subs, now I'm at 60K because I recently had a video that's hitting algorithm like crazy.
Yeah.
But all of 2022 was essentially finding myself. I didn't mean to hit the mic. Finding myself in self-improvement, and then also finding myself in YouTube and the exact kind of content I want to create. But now we're at 60K subs, which we could talk about it later in the pod. Like, in my opinion, subs don't even matter anymore in 2023. But I'm realizing I'm slowly shifting the algorithm understanding of my audience towards the self-improvement people, and I'm starting to see self-improvement videos start to do well now. So I think I'm finally starting to, I had that climb and then kind of that maintenance and trying to introduce self-improvement. It's not working so well. And I'm seeing that uptick right now.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at currently.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can resonate with your story because obviously you grew up being like a Jeffrey, right? You went through like the fapping, the gaming, and just like instant gratification, right? Whereas now you're a bit older now, a bit more wise, and you can actually like share your story and actually like tell people like your experience and like helping them get out of that situation, right? Which I think is really cool.
Exactly.
I can resonate with that as well. Like when I was a kid, I pretty much did the same thing you did. And so do you see yourself still like editing for other people, or are you like 100% focused on your own thing now?
I'm still working with James. James is like a brother to me. He's like my best friend, and while I do make some income from my stuff, like for me to sustain where I currently live, groceries, stuff like that, I do need his side of things as well, because I have a certain amount each month that I can account on. And like, honestly, when I don't want to like stroke my own cock, but like I'm a veteran with editing to where I can pump out the gym style vlogs pretty quick and still have them like high quality.
Especially for him, right? With like he likes your style.
Yeah, he likes my style. I know what he wants. I know how to put a couple memes in there. I know how to make a good workout edit. I know, and I film it most of the time. So I know how to film it to where it'll be really efficient editing. Like I'm not just grabbing the whole set and going and cutting up. It's like I film 2 seconds and I'll do a transition, 2 seconds. So it's seamless when I edit. Yeah. So I'm going to be doing that for the foreseeable future. But of course, my end goal is to make a personal brand that via YouTube, via maybe other platforms, who knows. But right now the main thing is YouTube, of building my personal brand, offering tons of free value, but eventually offering some things that are paid for. I mean, I have a fitness course, but I want to put more things out along the lines of self-improvement, and that's my end goal. I mean, I would be lying if I said that, yes, I want to help as many people as possible, but of course, I want to be a successful guy. Like I want financial freedom. It's not that...
Still got to make money at the end of the day.
It's not that, I want like nice cars, watches, whatever, that stuff's nice, but for me, the main drive for financial freedom is the freedom. Because nowadays, if you work a regular job, if you're a slave to student loans, if you're a slave to debt, whatever, you never have actual freedom. If you don't have the ability to have fuck you money, where you can say fuck you to anyone, your boss, even the government in a sense, if you can leave the country, you're not fully free. And I think for most men, or at least a lot of men, we have that deep desire within us to be free. And I don't think full freedom is possible in the modern age. The powers that be have hands everywhere. It's impossible. I want to get as financially free as I possibly can while doing what I want to do, which is helping others. I don't want to like scam or sell out or do bullshit content that for like views or whatever. That's where I'm at right now. So that, and then a personal goal is like I'd want to make enough money where I could retire my mother.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, quickly going back to the freedom thing, like I think honestly, like from education systems since like elementary school up to high school up until college, like you're pretty much trapped and you're pretty much learning everything you need to like obey to like a boss or like help someone else's dream come true.
Yeah, imagine being 18 years old and you have to ask some lady to use the restroom. Like you're conditioned from day one.
You're conditioned, exactly.
Like everything about school conditions you for a cubicle.
Yeah.
Everything about it is for that. And
a lot of people don't
there's
realize
benefits.
that.
Like there's social aspects. Yeah, we need to know basic math. I think knowing history is very important, even though you could argue a lot of the history we're taught is written by the winners, and there's a lot of manipulation there to like change our perspective of the world. But regardless, for the most part, it's not the same world that our grandparents grew up in.
Absolutely.
Where they can go to college and take out a $10,000, $20,000 loan, go to college, make that back in a year. They get a nice job where they're making they're making $50,000 a year, which now sounds like a teacher's salary, but back then $50,000,
you were rich.
You can get a house your first year, you can get a nice car, you have a nice life, and then slowly over time, they had it to where, okay, now men and women have to work to maintain that. Oh, inflation's going crazy, but these jobs are still starting at 50,000, but everything costs 20 times more.
Yeah, doesn't really
but
make
the
sense.
cost to go to school is 20 times more. It went from 10,000 to, so there's some that, a lot of like the higher paying jobs, the degrees for the higher paying jobs is over $100,000 if you go to a nice school.
Yeah. And like, I've mentioned this in a couple of my other podcasts, and a lot of people think that I'm like fully against school. I'm not fully against school. Like I myself, I went to university.
Yeah.
Like I actually, funny story, I dropped out because they needed me to get the jab for doing online school.
Really?
Which is quite, yeah.
Online?
That's like a different discussion for a different day. But yeah, that was a long story. So basically I dropped out then. And funny enough, I bought a car and like drove out then. That's why I moved here initially.
That's Uber based to drop out to not get it. Respect.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like it's a whole story, right? And so going back to the university thing, it's like I think it's awesome. Like if you know you want to be like a lawyer or like a medical student, like a doctor, whatever, right? But especially for like you and I, like you're a YouTuber, like I do online coaching, business. I think it's not really necessary like for a lot of people, especially if you like know exactly what you want to do. Right. A lot of people just like waste their time, waste their money on things that they don't actually need. And it's like once you've done it, it's like you're $20,000 or $200,000 in student loans that you gotta pay off, working a job that you don't like for the rest of your life. And it's like you're trapped living this life, right? And I think it's kind of unfair because when you're 18 years old, you graduate high school and you're told like, hey, go to like exactly what happened to you. Like you gotta pick what you want to do in university, and then like you're 18 years old, you don't even know what you want to do with your life, right? Yeah. You're just forced into picking this thing, and then maybe midway through, you're like, wait, I actually don't like doing this. But it's like I might as well finish now.
Yeah, I wanted to take a year off. I remember saying, oh, I want to take a gap year to like figure it out.
That's a smart idea.
I don't know what I want to do. Like I knew what I wanted to do, but in terms of college, like, oh, I want to figure it out, and everyone's like, no, you need to go in while it's fresh, while the learning, you don't take a year off. So they're really pushing you to where I would have felt like a loser if on graduation day, because we go up and we have like the flags of the school and we say what we're going to go to school for. And I told them I was going to go to UT Dallas and do biology so I can then become a physical therapist, because I felt like if I would, and at my school, a small school, anyone who was sitting in the going straight into the workforce group were the losers. Yeah. They were the bums. Like they were the people that we need them, but they're NPCs now. And I don't like I hate that term because people get so triggered. But it's like somewhat ironic, but people understand what it means.
Of course. I quickly want to go back to the changing topics now to the whole subscriber thing. So you're at 60,000 subscribers now, right?
I hit 60,000 last night. I'll probably be at 61 by the end of the day.
That's pretty cool.
I have a video popping off. Over a month later, it was I made a video about sexual discipline, and it's why men. Sorry, I'm trying to remember my own damn video title. It was like how sexually disciplined men get what they want, especially women in like parentheses. And in the title, it's me covering my eyes. I knew what I was doing because I was so frustrated with like my self-improvement and this value I'm trying to put in the videos not getting pushed out, which is partly my responsibility to take on. I switched from a completely fitness-based thing into self-improvement. Yeah. But I put ass in the thumbnail, and it's me like not looking at the ass from the wonderful actress in the thumbnail.
Nice clickbait.
Yeah, and it's me. And that video, it did pretty well off the bat, and it won 1 out of 10, which I didn't see for so long, bro. With the self-improvement I was getting every time a video would upload. Now I detached myself emotionally from how videos perform. But at the time when I would see a 9 or a 10 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10, I was like, is this gonna work? Yeah. Should I just delete this and make a new YouTube channel? Like, what am I doing wrong? But that one I was like, oh, okay. But it's like butt cheeks, I get it. And then it went up to like 10K organic with my subscribers and stuff. And it went up to, I wanna say in between 20 and 30K. But I noticed the click-through rate was pretty low, and the average view duration went from 5 minutes or so, half the video, to 1.5 minutes. And I was like, what happened? No one's watching this video. So I go in the analytics, and it's the majority of the views said from YouTube search. And I was like, okay, what search terms? And it's sexual men and women. So people trying to find softcore porn on YouTube. For porn, But they were like, and they're like, oh, this guy's trying to help me quit this stuff. Yeah, so they click off. So the video kind of died from there. And now, almost 30 days later, I wake up one day and I'm like, oh, why is it at 40K views now? Later in the day, why is it at 50K? And the graph literally looks like like a little hump and then a straight line, and then it's ramping straight up. I can show you after the pod.
So what's it at right now?
120, 130, 140,000.
Damn.
And so I went from, in 48 hours, it's gone from 30,000 to like 130,000 out of nowhere. But the average view duration has gone up to almost 4 minutes now. The click-through rate's gone back up, and all the comments are super positive. So I think finally YouTube, some audience that they pushed it out to, just testing it, because the video was basically dead. I don't know how it happened, but self-improvement related, sexual discipline, no-fap related, they interacted with it. So now the algorithm is hitting the audience I've been trying to hit all of 2022. So I'm now getting some subs. I think I've gotten over 1,000 new subs just from that video. In my opinion, subscribers don't matter.
Yeah, so I want to touch on
one video popping off doesn't matter, because if that was the case, I would have a whole career off of Dear Skinny Guys with 2 mil. Yeah. But all that did was get me subs that didn't like the self-improvement. Yeah, that's an important topic, because like recently I hit 100,000 subs, which I'm super just grateful for. Like I started YouTube like in 2019, was my first ever platform. Yeah. And just like seeing it grow. Obviously I did take advantage of like YouTube's new algorithm of like short form content. I've been pumping those out. And when I first like posted it on my Instagram story, I had a lot of people like question like, oh, you bought your subscribers, or like, oh, you posted shorts, that's cheating, this and that. And it's like ultimately like I think 100%, I don't think there'll be the same subscribers that it would have gone from like long form videos. I would not be at 100,000 if I posted like 10-minute, 15-minute type of videos you're making, right? But at the end of the day, it's like I'm still taking advantage of like what is out there in terms of like, hey, you're posting shorts, we'll give you more subscribers. Yeah, you're playing the game.
I'm playing the game, right? And so why do you think, like, I kind of get why you're saying it, but in your opinion, why do you think subscribers don't really matter as much, like on YouTube nowadays?
So back in the day, if a YouTuber had 1 million subscribers, and this is like 5+, 6, 7 years ago. This is when I started watching YouTube the first couple of years. They would get close to, like, if you have 1 million subs, you're getting almost 1 million views a video.
Are your subscribers?
And then YouTube, and then if you're one of the chosen like YouTube people like Smosh, Fred, I'm trying to think of other ones, but Annoying Orange, like the key ones, they would put you on the homepage. Yeah. But most people went straight to their subscription feed to watch who they're subscribed to. So it was pretty linear. It wasn't 1-to-1, but it was pretty like maybe 0.8 to 1 view to sub ratio. But then as soon as YouTube realized, and this is like documented, they were split testing, algorithms started getting smarter, AI, all that nonsense, and they realized if people who watched YouTube algorithmically based, meaning they go to the homepage and YouTube shows them some stuff from their subscriptions, but a lot of stuff they would have never seen before, their session time on the platform was much longer than people that came and just watched their subscriptions. So YouTube started pushing more and more algorithm based to where flash forward a couple years now, 2023, it doesn't matter what your subscriber count is. I had 50K subs and I would post a self-improvement video that gets 5K views. Yeah. That's a 10% ratio. That's dog shit. I'm not going to grow off those views, but that's the game we play now. So now it's algorithm based, where sure you want your initial subs that they push it to click on it, but the reason you want that is because YouTube's going to broaden it. Yeah. New people. That's why you see now million sub channels who get 20,000 views a video, and I'll see 30,000 sub channels who they're making really good content, and it's honed in on a certain audience. The algorithm is pushing it out. They have 30K subs, but they're getting 200K a video, and they're growing like crazy. So it's all algorithm based, which part of me hates it because I like the idea of linear, but also I understand it because at the end of the day, YouTube wants people to stay on the platform as long as possible. That's so they watch the most ads. They might buy the YouTube subscription thing. I forget what that's called. YouTube Premium? They'll buy the YouTube Premium. They'll do all this and that. And that's at the end of the day, that's what they want. I get it. And it's just a game we have to play. But I would argue that's good because back in the day, if you wanted to get subs, you had to pray to get put on the trending or like the homepage, and which was hand selected, hand curated, or you had to create a video that went viral in terms of it was getting shared on Facebook, people were texting it to each other, all this, versus now you can have 1,000 subs and create a banger video and it's gonna get 1 million views because of the algorithm. Yeah. So there's give and take, but I guess I would assume I'm more grateful now than then, because part of me is like, if that was the case, maybe I wouldn't have as much success, because Dear Skinny Guys was all algorithm based, right? Popping off, right? And so I think it's a good thing, but I think people need to recognize that subscribers don't really matter. And sponsors are noticing this, because if you're a sponsor and you're like, oh, this guy's 1 million subs. Back in the day, it's like, he has 1 million subs. Let's give him 10K to do an ad deal. Now it's like, he has 1 million subs, but he gets 20K views a video. We'll give him like $200 for a brand deal, something like that.
It's
like,
not just YouTube, like Instagram as well.
Yeah, Instagram, it's the likes you get on the posts.
Yeah, people are hiding their likes now too, which is quite funny.
Yeah.
Especially the bigger influencers, like you can tell, right?
Yeah, people that have been around for a while and maybe did the more spammy things back in the day to get followers, and now they get sub 1,000, so they put on and others.
Yeah.
I get it. I hope I never get to that point, because I would rather just start a new Instagram.
Yeah, that's
or like
scary.
try something different. But yeah, no, in my opinion, subscribers don't matter. I think it's great. Like, celebrate it. Yeah, enjoy the plaque. I want my plaque.
Dude,
I want people to click and see it. But more than that, I want people to say, oh, let's say I'm at 200,000 subs. Oh, he's at 200,000 subs. And all of his videos get at least 70, 80, 90, 100,000. That's a pretty good ratio.
Yeah,
like, he's doing really good with his videos compared to, oh, he has 200,000 subs. And his videos get 10K views, you know?
Yeah, and so like now knowing that like the whole short form content, like why haven't you taken advantage of that? Because I assume like if you were to go like full in on the short form content, pumping out the short form clips, you'd easily be at 100,000 subscribers, right? And we've kind of talked about this like before the podcast, but for your specific niche, right? Like the whole self-improvement thing, your content is like super valuable. Like you're actually helping people, educating people. And it's like, and you probably noticed as well, if you were to like turn that 10 or 15 minute video into like a 15 or 30-second short, it will probably get more views, probably get way more subscribers, but the people will actually get less value from it, right? Because no one can learn anything valuable in like 20 or 30 seconds, right?
Right.
And so is that the main reason why you haven't been pumping out the shorts on your YouTube? Or like, what's the reasoning behind that?
I mean, to an extent, I still think short form, I've seen creators that post very valuable content, such as Alex Hormozy, who makes like business-related stuff. He went crazy on the short form. Aman Gadzi, Tate, he's controversial, but Andrew Tate, you see them pop off, and there's hundreds of thousands of kids that saw a random Andrew Tate clip and went and started watching 3-hour podcasts of them.
True. Yeah.
So it's a very broad net. It's how I see it is it's the very top of the funnel, and it's useful, and I honestly think I should be doing it. I get so many emails every day of people that want to do short form, because that short form agency is like the big business now. And it's like, bro, you want me to pay you $1,200 a month for some Walmart quality cap cut AI generated captions that I could do? No, but for me right now, one, I want to grow the most from my long form because it's going to attract the exact audience I want to cultivate, the exact kind of following. I don't want to overinflate my subscriber count. So if I did, I might throw out a short here and there experiment. I've done like 4 or 5 of these very concisely written, but still general self-improvement related, where I'm saying very little, but there's a lot of depth behind it that you kind of understand. And it's topics I could take and do a 10-minute video about. So I've tried that here and there. I'm not uploading them to shorts. I tried them on TikTok a little bit. I've made a new account. It's not doing anything. I posted on Instagram. I think my Instagram shadow banned, so it got like 1,000, 2,000 likes, whatever. But for me...
Have you put them on YouTube or just other platforms?
I've put one on YouTube and it only got like 4,000 views. Shorts are weird, I've noticed, because I have some shorts from back in the day when it was very early starting. That one has like 300-something K. It's me ranking pre-workouts or something like that. But I noticed when I uploaded it, and all of a sudden, whoop, 3, 4K, and then nothing.
Yeah, it just stopped.
And it's got no views since then. It's flatlined. So it's weird. I don't understand how exactly it selects stuff, whatever, because I thought it was a pretty decent piece of content. But then again, I specialize in long form stuff, so I don't know. But on one hand, I think it's a tool that I might be sleeping on. But on the other hand, I want to put so much into learning how to write and create these good long form pieces that I know I can't add these other priorities. Like my priorities is go to the gym, keep my physical and mental health good, and then write and film YouTube videos that are high value, that have depth, that I've put a lot of time writing in, knowing exactly what I want the outcome to be of these videos. And if I try to introduce, edit a short form piece of content every day out of a YouTube video, which is, in my opinion, I think it's better, and I know you do this, it's better to make something specifically for short form than just take clips out of a long form thing. But for me, it's time management. I simply... If I went into that and I started seeing results, I either need to hire someone, which my YouTube doesn't make that much money to like warrant that, where I could afford to hire someone, especially someone that's good, not some Walmart CapCut editor like most of them are. So it's something I think I'll have ideas for in the future, especially because I've seen people have a lot of success. Even people who, they have a team of short form editors, but there's no official, like Aman Gadzhi, I don't know if you know that he did this, but there's no Aman Gadzhi TikTok or YouTube Shorts. There's just Aman Gadzhi fan 123, Aman Gadzhi clips, but it's his team. There's 10 accounts that look like fan accounts, but it's his team putting them out. That way you have, just switch up the music, switch up the color of the captions on, and upload it to all these different ones, and you just 10x your chance of a viral clip.
Similar to like
that
what
brings
Andrew
them
Tate
to the
did?
long form. Yeah, Andrew Tate did that, but it was affiliate marketing based, versus Aman does it. They're actual employees under him.
Okay.
But still, like the idea is there. But for me, I think it's much more worthwhile of an investment to just continue pouring everything I can into the long form, and sacrificing the short form content, posting on Instagram consistently, posting on TikTok consistently, because I know, sure, I could try to be a jack of all trades, but I know if I just put everything into this with the long form, the results are inevitable. It's just a matter of patience and time, versus if I stretch myself out too thin, things are going to get neglected here and there, and I think it could be a negative just as much as a positive.
Yeah, I think a lot of people sort of like the shiny fish syndrome.
Shiny object syndrome.
Where it's like things are trending here, things are trending there. I want to do short form, long form, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Pinterest, you name it. And it's like ultimately, it's like if you really want to be successful at like one specific thing, you should probably like do what you're doing and like go all in on that one thing. And I also think for like long form videos, like for example, the video that popped off for like the Dear Skinny Kid video, that probably would not have popped off if it was like a short. Or like I feel like long form videos are more like evergreen, where it's like they'll last forever, right? Like they'll always be on the platform.
It was getting views for like a year after uploading, just steadily climbing.
Yeah, right. Whereas like
millions.
the TikTok videos and like Instagram Reels, it's like they'll be trending for like 1 or 2 days and immediately they will like disappeared. Right. We'll never see them on your feed again unless they do super, super well. But I really think for your specific situation, like the long form is doing really well. And it's like you can always, let's say 1 or 2 years from now, hire an editor and go back to like your older videos and cut that up into shorter form pieces of content. So I think for the long run, I think long form videos is like still the way to do it.
I see it as it's always going to be there, and I can retroactively go back. But right now, 100,000 views on a 10-minute YouTube video to me is, I would kill for that compared to 100,000 on a short form. Be like, oh, it's kind of nice.
It doesn't feel the same.
I'm like, this isn't. I'm not changing lives with this. Versus when I make a long form content and I get literally comments like, this just changed my perspective. This shifted my perspective. This changed my life. I'm about to do this, this, and this. I'm like, this is the value. And these people, those are the people that are going to subscribe, support everything I do, watch all the videos. Yeah. Versus short form, it's like top of the funnel. You want to get some people in. You might want to remind them of good things. Like put some ideas out there. It's a good way to test ideas too. Test an idea on short form, and if it hits really hard, make a long form piece about it. But yeah, as of right now, I simply can't prioritize it until I'm balling like that with the YouTube money and can hire someone that actually knows how to make good short form content to do it, or somehow through time management dedicate time for me to make original pieces of short form. But even then, I'd probably only want to do 1 or 2 a week because I want them to have depth behind them. Yeah. Which is what I was experimenting with. Yeah, while we're on the subject of short form content, I know we've been talking about this for a while, but one quick thing I wanted to add is that this is my personal opinion, but I think they're actually slowly starting to die out. And hear me out, right? Because Meta, I don't know if you heard this, but they're like dropping their bonus program, where it's like I used to get paid like $1,000 per month for like posting. And they're lobbying, Meta's lobbying the government. The reason TikTok's getting banned isn't because it's trying to spyware, it's because Facebook is paying politicians to get it banned. Oh, Meta's lobbying the government to get TikTok banned, yeah. Is it because they're competing with them? All the attention is I'm sure there's some other reasons that make it like seem like, oh, we need to do this, but from Facebook's perspective, it's like, yeah, this is our direct competitor. Yeah. If we get them off, Reels is going to go insane. It's going to become TikTok. And if TikTok doesn't exist and the creator fund on TikTok doesn't exist, yeah, there's YouTube Shorts, but there's really just Reels. So we don't have to pay the creators as much if we don't want to. We can change the monetization structure and it doesn't matter because they're not going to leave Reels. They're not going to leave the platform for TikTok because they can't. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think of that. Oh, that's That's my perspective. I'm going to learn more about it, but from what I've seen so far, that's...
Okay, because I just thought like the ads on the Reels, for example, weren't as high compared to like the longer form videos. But that's just some food for thought. I don't know, it's just something I noticed right away. Imagine like your YouTube skilled. Would you ever want to like hire like a Kenny Jr. behind you to like do your editing and your thumbnails, your videos? Because like you're the curator behind everything, right? So would you hire someone underneath you as well once you like skill up?
Yeah, and one of the things is when you're an editor and you're like take pride in it.
You're super picky, right?
You're super picky. It's so hard to have someone else do it, even though if they do 80%, 85% of what you want, but you're able to upload 2 times as consistently, the 2 times consistently at 80% quality is much better than 99% quality, but the frequency and the amount you can output is cut in half. So I've been experimenting with it. I have a friend who he's edited a couple of mine, and he'll edit some, send it to me. I'll put a little things on top, or I'll do the music, and then some videos I'll just edit fully myself because like I said, YouTube's not some crazy I had some months where it's like over 1,000, but then a lot of months is like a couple $100 at most.
Yeah.
And living nowadays costs much more than that, so it's definitely something I'll continue to experiment with. And if I started making buku money off YouTube, it's simply not worth the time. If I can, the time editing 3 to 6 hours on a video, I can take that and I can write more content. I can research more. I can digest more things. I can do more creative stuff on that side. But I have an editor who does 90% of what I want in terms of editing quality and whatnot. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. I'm simply not there yet.
Yeah.
And I so much of my personality is in the editing. That's the thing. It's really hard to let go. But the guy that is helping me here and there, he's pretty similar. Like he's also into self-improvement. He understands the memes. He's done stuff in some of my videos that jokes I wouldn't have thought of that hit really well that people reacted to. So yeah, it's definitely I can't edit my stuff forever because it's from a time management perspective and a business perspective. Once I get to a certain scale, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. Like we were talking about Hamza earlier. Hamza, the only reason he got to where he got is because he had like 6 editors and was posting every single day. All of his brain output was just read, meditate, record a video.
Yeah.
Everything in the back end was completely outsourced. So like for scale and for putting out value like that, I'm sure eventually.
Inevitable, right?
Yeah, it's inevitable. Yeah. And there's plenty of good editors. There's plenty of people better than me. I don't have enough ego to think I will always just edit my stuff because no one's as good as me. No. Yeah. But right now it's like a finance thing.
Right, okay. And so speaking of Hamza, like do you have any like inspirations or like people you look up to specifically now when it comes to like creating your own content? Like do you have a couple of people like, oh, I really want my content to be like his, or I like his message, or I like the way he does things? Do you have someone? Or do you just stay focused on your own thing? And
I've gotten more honed in on this because early in the self-improvement there was certain times where maybe I sounded a little too Andrew Tatey, or maybe I sounded a little too Hamza-y. And early on, like early 2022, I listened to every single Andrew Tate podcast because his story was so inspirational. And he opened my mind from the idea of, I just want to make enough money to be comfortable, to where I want true financial freedom. I want true fuck you money. He helped lead me to that mental shift. But where I'm at is I'll absorb topics. I'm trying to do more in terms of like reading, long form podcasts.
Okay.
I don't watch the little back when Hamza was doing the little 5-minute dopamine release videos of no value. I'm not going to watch those. But if he drops a long form piece of content that I think is a topic I want to hear, but I'm very careful to ingest a lot of stuff, but not directly turn around and output it. Ingest things, and then through maybe if I'm on a walk or if I'm meditating or whatever, ideas will naturally surface from the subconscious into the conscious, and I'll write it down in like my Notion, which is my note-taking software I'm learning. But inspirations, maybe early 2022, Tate was actually pretty motivational. He's a controversial character, sir, but just the idea of making so much money, you have that freedom, was very inspirational for me. The ideas of traditional masculinity was very motivational for me as someone who's just such a beta, insecure, feminine kid growing up, to me trying to transition into a more masculine guy, more confident guy. But as of right now, there's no one that really comes to mind. I'm trying to be very careful with what I ingest.
Yeah. I think similar to like who you surround yourself with in real life, like the top 5 people or like the sum of what you are. You probably agree with that, right?
Right. Yeah.
I think it's similar with like the content you consume. Like
I see them as mentors.
Yeah.
Instead of like people I want to rip from. Like people like to say steal like an artist, but I think of
it's
it
like
more
take
as,
inspiration and ideas.
Yeah, intelligent inspiration because someone could make a topic of, for example, the sexual discipline video. Someone else can make a video about sexual discipline or nofap, but I didn't watch someone else's video and just parrot exactly what they said. I meditated on that topic. I tried to draw as much personal experience and what my opinions, my viewpoints are, what I think is right and the best value I can put, and I made the piece of content. Versus some people will genuinely find a topic, rip the title word for word, and rip what they say word for word, which is a lot different than just, okay, I'm going to do that topic, but I might not even watch the video. I'm just going to let that topic marinate in my mind, maybe read some podcasts or read some books, listen to some podcasts on that.
I feel like everything we ever make or like create now as like creators, I feel like someone's already made a video on, right?
100%.
Like you can probably agree with that. Yeah. So it's like there's obviously going to be like a fine line between like making your own stuff, but then also like not trying to like copy.
There's
someone
no
else's
such thing as a completely original thing.
But it's like I hear that all the time, like on my TikTok, like, oh, this was copied from X creator, and then oh, this next one was stole from this one. Well, it's like at the end of the day, it's like everything's already been made. It's like by you being Kenny, by me being Cohnan, it's like we're already putting like our own twist on it, right? So I totally get what you say.
Yeah.
Like not copying someone else's script or someone else's title word for word. That's not cool. You should not do that. But I mean, like you're still pretty much gonna be taking someone's idea and just by you being you, you're already putting like your own spin on it, pretty much, right?
But I do think there's a lot of value because every self-improvement thing I talk about they have books about it, there's other people about it. But as creators, we're attracting a very specific kind of audience. The audience I'm attracting is people that are very similar to me, a couple stages behind, like either a younger version of me or just people a couple stages behind in their self-improvement journey. So I'm taking all of this, processing it, and putting it through my lens, compared to maybe if they listen to even like an Andrew Tate or a Jordan Peterson say it won't resonate as much because I put it through my lens and they identify with it, it's different. For example, Mr. Beast, you could be, oh, Mr. Beast is just copying reality television with the leave your hand on it and you win it.
Yeah.
But no one says Mr. Beast is unoriginal because it's through Jimmy's lens, it's through his own perspective. It's like if you saw a funny gym reel or TikTok about someone dropping weights and it's embarrassing or whatever, and you decide, oh, I'm going to make something with that idea. I don't think that's copy. I don't think that's stealing. I don't think that warrants anyone hating on you. But if you set the camera up the exact same way, you did the exact same, and the punchline, the dialogue was the exact same. Yeah, dude, you're ripping content. I've seen, there was, I forget is it Ryan Trahan who did the Penny series?
Yeah.
He had a viral YouTube short that was him going to the worst reviewed restaurant and leaving like a 5-star review. And there was a YouTuber who also had like 1 mil or 2 mil who copied it word for word, frame for frame. There was even an organic part in the Ryan Trahan video that was, oh, that's weird. There's a helicopter circulating overhead, which was real and they showed it. Yeah. But then the guy who copied it pretended like there's one.
Really?
He's like, oh yeah, there's a hell. Like the little things. So in my opinion, that is just straight stealing.
Yeah, okay.
And I think that should be frowned upon because that's intellectual property type thing.
Yeah.
But I could go to like a low-rated restaurant and make a piece of content about it, and it's my original dialogue, my viewpoints. I was inspired, but I'm not copying the idea from anyone in my opinion.
Yeah. I think that this whole copying thing, like while we're on the subject, I think a lot of people, just like influencers at Alpha in general, you see all these like trendy sounds, like trendy like text on the screen, transitions. Like I feel like a lot of people, especially in the fitness industry, are just like, they're all the same in terms of like, oh, they all look aesthetic pictures, same reels, same sounds, and it's like, no one's really separating themselves. Like obviously, like dude, the people you hang out with, Seuss, James, they're like, they're awesome, right? I have nothing against them. They all do their own thing. But it's like people who look up to them, like the people who are just starting to move into Alpha Land, they're probably like 5, 10, 15K followers, whatever, trying to make it, whatever that means. But they're all doing the same thing. It's like I can't differentiate you with your Young LA tracksuit and you with the Young LA tracksuit. It's like you're all doing the same thing, and I think it's just so funny how it's like they're all. I just my personal opinion. Like, do you agree with that, or do you think it's like?
Oh no, I see that a lot with, and I nowadays.
And so, because you're probably around James English, you must find that so just like cringe. Like,
there are some cringe people, and for example, there's certain kinds of mic'd up.
Oh,
mic'd up reels. I'll see at Alphaland.
Granted,
a lot of these,
girls,
a lot of these people are successful, but there's some I see where I'm like, this is the cringiest thing I've ever seen. This does not make me want to go to the gym. This is, you think this girl thinks she's being cute, quirky, dancing in the gym. For me, it's cringe. I find it cringe, but I get it. For a broader audience, for people who find that funny, whatever, it might be like, oh, they're having fun in the gym, whatever. It could be a net positive for the world, but in terms of like what you were saying with fitness stuff where they're just aesthetic, I've noticed a lot of people who built whole followings, nothing about their personalities, but all they do is every TikTok is just a transformation video with the trend.
Yeah.
There's
different
this
sound.
Yeah,
whatever.
there's this different sound, or there's this meme they do, or this text, this joke.
It's all the same.
They just ride every trend, and dudes, they're sponsored. They're making mad money. Some of them are coaches, so it works. And I'm not knocking it, but, and this could be my ego because I try to put depth behind my content, but it's like, you have no depth behind you, and maybe you will eventually. Maybe you'll start being an authentic version of yourself and displaying that. But as of right now, I see it's like, you are Jim TikTok NPC number 47 in my eyes, but I have the eyes of a creator. I don't have the eyes of like a normal person that just mindlessly consumes TikTok, where they're like, oh, funny, laugh,
Yeah, that's what I mean with the whole short form content. Like, it's hard to like display your personality and actually like get people to like know, like, and trust you, right? Which is really why I respect what you do with like your whole YouTube thing and doing like the long form videos, because after watching a video of yours, it's like, oh wow, I actually can like resonate with Kenny. It's like, I just became one of your friends, right? So I think like, again, like the whole YouTube audience, getting subscribers on YouTube is probably so different compared to like getting followers on TikTok, and Instagram. Because, dude, that was close. And Instagram, I just think, like, obviously, like, I'm downgrading anyone. Like, a follower is still, like, a follower, 100%. Right? But it's, like, it just hits different when it's on YouTube, especially with the content that you produce. It's, like, the people that actually subscribe to your stuff are, like, people that genuinely just, like, they mess with you. They like your stuff. They like your personality. Whereas anyone can follow anyone on Instagram because they have a shredded physique. They look good. Yeah. Or a booty pic, whatever, right? There's just more depth behind what you do, which is... I really respect
They're
that.
both instant gratification in certain ways. Yeah. But the TikTok and the Instagram posts are the lowest form of the instant gratification, where it's just, oh, swipe, oh, swipe, oh, swipe. Versus to sit down and commit to a 10-minute YouTube video, that's a lot, especially when I'm just, like, yes, I edit it for retention. I have to play the game to an extent because I need that at least 50% average view duration. But people that are committing to that, they're getting impacted by it, like I was talking about earlier, versus the short form. Top of the funnel is just how I see it. I do think there's some depth in terms of like Instagram stories, because you can show your day, you can talk about certain things. However, even then with stories, the algorithm is really weird. Like, I'll post a certain story, which might just be a picture, like me showing something or me talking about something, and I have a freaking guy botted me 10K, which messed up my Instagram, because I have like 16 to 18K organic followers, and an agency was like, hey man, I just sent you 10K followers. If you want to pay for more, DM me. And I was like, oh, what? Bro, you're going to get me shadow banned. It's going to mess up my engagement. Please delete them. And he said, sure. They all went away, and then a day later they were back. And I've manually removed like a couple hundred, but how am I going to manually remove 10K? What? It's so annoying, but I was like, maybe in the long term, if I have 100K, 10% being bots that I can't handle, it's no big deal. But we'll say 18K actual followers. And a certain story, the algorithm may be like, oh yeah, 2,000 people will see it. And then another story where maybe it's a lot of text and I do a poll or a vote or whatever, will get like 7K. So even the stories...
Oh yeah, happens to me all the time.
It's like, should I really document my day? Because sure, but then the trade-off is, okay, only 1,500, 2,000 people are seeing it, but those people really mess with you. There's a trade-off. It's
Dude.
Like they really mess with you if they're going to watch a little story vlog of your life, so...
Dude, I experiencing the exact same thing. Whenever I post like a poll on my story, like first thing, and if I only post one a day, I get like skyrocket views. Whereas if I post like multiple times in a day, it's like it just go downhill. And it's like, dude, obviously that messes with me. I'm like, I want to get the most amount of views on my story, right? So like even subconsciously, I'm like, like I sometimes like I'll do that. Like I'll post like 1 or 2 stories a day.
Yeah.
Whereas like on my Snapchat, I'm a bit more like personal, which is funny because I have a lot more subscribers on my Snapchat than Instagram. So maybe I should reconsider that. But
Snapchat, I think Snapchat's a little different because Snapchat, the more you post, it seems to work better in terms of.
I guess that's true.
Because all the celebrities that are making money off Snapchat, they'll post a picture
random
of the ground
stuff, yeah.
because they know that every 3 or 4 things there's an ad.
Yeah.
So they're making mad money, and then just the very last snap they'll do like some clickbait booby physique pic or whatever because you have to click through 30 stories and watch 4 ads to get to it.
Right. Okay. Because I have Snapchat right now of like 300K. I've only gone like the Snapchat crystals, which is what they pay for like posting on their spotlight, which is like the equivalent of like Instagram Reels.
Yeah, I've seen it.
But you need like 150,000 views within a span of 24 hours in order to like be considered to get paid for that, which is super random and it's super hard.
It's weird.
But yeah, quickly going back to your story, man. We've kind of talked about like you growing up being a Jeffrey, and now you're like an Adonis. You've like,
I don't want to say that. No,
I mean, you've come a long way though. Like you're becoming a lot more masculine. And so, do you have like a couple tips for like obviously my audience is a bit younger. They're probably like teens, young 20s as well. Do you have any tips for people? And before I ask you this question, like I feel like a lot of people in today's society are just grown up being super feminine, like yourself, like myself. We're just taught to like not like show off our masculine urge, like stand up for ourselves, have our own opinions.
Yeah.
And so do you have any like tips for just the audience in general to like kind of like go through a similar phase that you went through, to just pretty much like wake up and be like, okay, I'm a male, I want to stand up for what I believe in, and I just want to become more masculine. Like, do you have any tips in general for that?
Obviously, the first one, this is a given.
I mean, so for example, for you, right? Like, how did you transition from being super feminine, being a gamer, fapping, to like you going to the gym, like vlogging, moving to
there it is.
Alpha
The first step is, for most people, the top of the funnel for them is going to be going to the gym, because you just see those instant changes. Even feminine guys can be insecure and want to get more fit, more toned, just lose some fat, whatever. Yeah. So I think, of course, having an impressive physique nowadays is the minimum, you know, because I could see a guy who's worth $10 million and he's 280 pounds obese and he looks like trash. He looks 20 years older than he is. I would not trade places with him. Mm-hmm. I don't care if he's like 100 times my net worth. I'm not going to trade places with him. So I think fitness, physical health is the first one. In terms of being masculine, the next one is, I would say, confidence, and even to a certain extent.
But how do you build confidence, though? It's like you probably should be going to the gym and build some self-respect.
The gym builds a little bit, and then honestly, there's the idea of fake it till you make it. Mm-hmm. But in my opinion, it's all based on self-image, and there's ways to like program. I'm reading a book called Psycho-Cybernetics about.
I mean, how could you respect yourself if you don't take care of like your body?
Exactly,
right?
Exactly. You can fake it here and there, but I think. Yeah. What you should do is just, there's 2 things you can do. One thing, which sounds a little wooey, but in terms of maybe you're like getting in the gym, but you need more confidence, is to start visualizing who you want to be 5-10 years from now. Write it down, spare no detail, like exactly the kind of person you want to be, the best version of yourself, and then like close your eyes or just look out at a view or whatever and just visualize exactly what that will look like in 5-10 years from now if you achieved all of that, and like fully feel all the emotions, feel it as if it's already happened. That's really important. Mm-hmm. And what that does is it sounds so wooey, but it's so true. What it does is it tells your subconscious doesn't know the difference between what you're actually seeing and what you're visualizing if you're properly visualizing.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting.
So it tells your subconscious, oh, this is reality. So once you subconsciously it's gonna say, I need to make all the conscious and unconscious decisions that align with that reality, because it is reality. So that's one side of it, and that alone will help change your self-image, because you'll start to view yourself as that person. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit of self-hypnosis, but it works. I mean, Tate is like one of the biggest guys who talks about self-hypnosis all the time, and it completely changed his life.
I mean, like, imagine you talk down on yourself, like, oh, I'm sad, I'm depressed. It's like you're going to be acting like you're sad and depressed, right? Whereas if you tell yourself, I'm the man, I have high testosterone, I'm alpha, it's like you're just subconsciously going to take actions that that specific person will take, right?
Right, and then you'll start to take those actions unconsciously, which I think the subconscious helps a lot, but also consciously you will. And when you take those actions, you're cementing that self-image. You're proving, oh, this is actually me. I'm not a fapper. I'm not a guy that doesn't go to the gym. I'm not insecure, because clearly not. Like, look at what I'm doing. I'm that person. So it takes a little bit of time, but once that identity shifts, you will begin to, you will be confident, you will talk to people more confidently, and that will carry out. So I think that's pretty big, is just trying to cultivate a better self-image, but you have to have justification.
Yeah.
Because I could close my eyes and be like, I'm a billionaire and I'm this and that, and I get all the women, every woman is attracted to me, this and that. Your subconscious knows if you're lying.
Yeah.
So the visualization is really important, because you do visualize it as your future and as reality, but you can't just, some people are like, oh, affirmations of, I attract money, I do this, I do that, I'm happy.
Right? Yeah.
And there's affirmations that with visualization and meditation and stuff, I'm really big on meditation, but a lot of it is just nonsense because you don't believe it and your subconscious knows. But if you give your subconscious justification through the actions that you take throughout your days, then it's actually going to believe it, and you'll actually start doing that. So I think that's the second biggest thing, which kind of comes into like mental health and stuff. Just shifting your identity, it's worth it, because it's kind of like with NoFap.
Yeah.
For the longest time, I would go on these porn diets. I would try to do NoFap. I'd get some streaks.
What's the porn diet? What is that?
It's like you do it every day, but I'm just gonna do it twice a week now.
Oh,
and wean off.
Oh, okay.
Which, in my opinion, I think I think if you're gonna quit, you need to quit cold turkey, and I think that's the best way possible. Yeah. And that's a whole nother podcast in itself, honestly. But for the longest time, I was trying to quit, but I was still like, well, I'm an addict. I enjoy doing it. I'm someone that does this, but I'm gonna quit. I'm just brute force willpowering my way through it, which eventually, no matter what, that battery runs out. You're gonna stumble across something. You're gonna have a really bad day, and you're gonna relapse. Versus when I fully did a lot of introspection on, okay, what does porn actually do for me? Do I actually enjoy it? Yeah. Do I actually enjoy it? No, it's a dopamine release, the same as if I did coke or heroin or whatever, or video games, which some people may enjoy video games for other reasons. But afterwards, I'm never like, oh, that was nice. It's always shame.
Yeah.
I always know I'm lowering my baseline dopamine.
That's what I heard. Andrew Huberman said the same thing, right? It's you lower your baseline every single time.
Every time you have those crazy peaks, you have a dip, and you're down bad or whatever, and it comes back up to baseline, but the baseline might be a couple points lower than it was before. So imagine doing that for years and years, jerking off and playing video games, which is what I did. Yeah. But tying back into the identity thing, eventually I educated myself fully on exactly why porn is so bad, and all the way to the point where I realized it's all negatives. There's literally no benefit. Any benefit I come up with is cope, and that's not the benefits that I'm saying are not me. That is the little porn monster inside me that is trying so hard for me to not starve it to death. Versus when I identify, for so long I was identifying as a coomer, I was like, so I was willpowering my way through my NoFap streaks. Versus as soon as I had the switch of, no, this is terrible for me. I simply should never do this again. If I want to be, or if I am the person that's going to achieve these business goals, achieve these YouTube goals, have the focus, have the clarity, have the presence that I want to have, then it's not the person that does this ever, because there's zero benefits. Mm-hmm. And I've fully accepted that, and I fully educated myself on all the downsides of porn. So I was like, okay, I'm done. And it was just like that. It was like,
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which I had some streaks, like willpower-wise, for so long. But as soon as I took that, and I was reading, it's called the Easy Peasy Method. And it was originally written for quitting cigarettes, but someone reworked it to have it with pornography. I read that, and that helped this a lot too. But as soon as it was like, okay, for 3 weeks to a month, I'm going to have some dopamine-related withdrawals, but they're very minimal. I'm not quitting heroin. I'm not quitting crack or cigarettes or whatever. I'm just quitting pornography. And when you think about it, that's not that big a deal, bro. I'm just not touching my wiener, watching a girl that I wish I was fucking get fucked by another guy, cucking myself. It just messes up
your entire
dopamine. Like when you really take a look back and be like, this is so silly, and it does nothing.
Imagine, this is something I want people to visualize. Imagine you're third person watching yourself app. It's like...
Yeah, that's a good one. I always... imagine there's a camera on you.
Right?
Or dude, honestly, record yourself doing it and watch it and be like, oh man. That will help you get that temporary perspective shift. But when I shifted I'm a non-user, this serves me in no way, it was like, any time an urge came up, I was like, oh, that's not me. That's the little porn monster. like it's like sounds cartoonish or whatever, but there's literally, because how our brains are, our monkey brains, anything that's telling us to do it is just years of brainwashing, us brainwashing ourselves, society brainwashing us, the porn itself brainwashing us to think, oh no, there's some good, everyone does it, oh, it has this benefit, you'll last longer in bed, like all this dumb shit. Versus myself, who deep down, the reason we have the post-nut clarity and the shame is because we know deep down, I don't want to do this, but we just haven't given ourselves enough justification for that identity switch. So once I did that, and I don't even get them as much, but I understand, okay, for 3 weeks to a month, I'm going to have some little dopamine withdrawal feelings. I really didn't, but most, like 90% of the battle is just going to be undoing the brainwashing. So I had that shift, but like occasionally, you know, a thought might pop in, this or that, and I just see it as I have this little monster inside me, and I'm starving him to death, and he will say any and everything for me to even give him a crumb. So like, just touch it for a second on Instagram or here and that, anything for a crumb, so that he can live a little longer, and he will he just lies. Yeah. So that I think that's a good analogy. The monster idea is like a good analogy for quitting porn. But yeah, no, the moral is like, if your identity doesn't shift and you don't truly believe it, truly give yourself the justification, you're doomed. I mean, just going back to the whole instant versus delayed gratification, right? It's like doing that in the, like, it's gonna feel nice in the moment, right? But it's like, imagine yourself, like, where's this gonna lead you to, right? It's like, you're gonna be more insecure about yourself, you're not gonna be as confident around girls. It's just not gonna lead you to a better future, right? So I think a lot of just like young men are just like so caught up with like the now and like wanting like short form content, pornography, donut, like fast food, like just give it to me now, whereas putting in the work to like experience like the fruits of your labor like later on in life, right? So I think that's a really important thing. Just like focusing on like delayed gratification. The men who are, in my opinion, the men who are mindful and self-aware, which can come from meditation, journaling, all these different things, introspection, but the men who are mindful and the men who reject the instant gratification will be the most powerful, most successful men in this new age where everything is designed to distract us. Because if you have the mindfulness to be self-aware, to notice when you're getting distracted, to notice when you're having the bad habits, and you identify as the person that rejects those things, that's a superpower. It's literally a superpower. Especially in today's society, it's like when you're just like attacked by it like at all times. I think that's absolutely powerful. So Kenny, like this was a great podcast. I definitely learned a lot about yourself and just like a lot in general. So if people want more information about this and like learn a bit more about you, where can people like find you and follow you? Kennysfit on YouTube, just Kennysfit. I'll put it on the screen. Yeah, Kennysfit on YouTube. Kennysfit on Instagram. I post stories and a picture here and there. Once I get lean, I'll start posting more. But one thing, a new endeavor that if I could have y'all check out one thing probably, the YouTube of course, but the second thing would probably be Twitter. I'm going to start trying that because I took a writing course. I'm learning how to write. I want to put ideas onto Twitter just as I would put ideas into a video. That's what Hermosi does. He's very good at writing on Twitter. He writes all his tweets. Kennysfit.com if you do want to check out my fitness course. I'm going to have some other self-improvement related stuff in the future. I got like a big project I'm working on right now. But that's it. Thanks for having me on. Dude, of course, man. It was a pleasure. We'll definitely have you back on again, like if you're up for it, man. Yeah, there's plenty of topics that are... Dude, we can keep rambling on forever. Yeah. Like, we have a 30-minute recording limit, and our batteries are about to die. So we'll wrap things up right now. I'll put all your links in the description down below. But if you guys enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to go give this video a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe as well, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.